Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The European Commission today expressed deep concern over a ruling by Poland's Constitutional Tribunal that Poland should not heed a decision by the bloc's top court. The Constitutional Tribunal today also resumed a sitting on whether the Polish constitution takes precedence over European Union treaties. As part of the proceedings initiated by Brussels against Poland, the European Court of Justice told Warsaw last year to suspend a panel created to discipline judges. The Constitutional Tribunal has ruled that such a measure is unconstitutional.
Przy najlepszej woli wykładni konstytucji nie da się.
With the best will to interpret the Constitution, it is impossible to find in it the powers of the European Court of Justice to suspend Polish laws concerning the system of Polish courts. The European Court spokesman stressed that European Union laws take precedence over national ones and that the bloc expected Poland to implement any rulings and decisions by the Luxembourg-based Court of Justice of the European Union.
Indeed, the Commission is deeply concerned by the decision of the Polish Constitutional Tribunal made yesterday, which states that the interim measures ordered by the Court of Justice of the European Union in the area of the functioning of the judiciary are inconsistent with the Polish Constitution. This decision actually reaffirms our concerns about the state of the rule of law in Poland. The Commission has always been very clear on this matter and reaffirms once more the EU law has primacy over national law, and all decisions by the European Court of Justice, including orders for interim measures, are binding on member states' authorities and national courts. The rights of EU citizens and businesses must be protected in the same way across all member states. The European Commission expects Poland to ensure that all decisions of the European Court of Justice are fully and correctly implemented.
The ruling is one of two that will be handed down by the tribunal this week that call into question the primacy of European Union law. Equivalent tribunals and courts in Germany, Romania, France and Spain have reached similar positions in recent months. Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro said that he welcomed the ruling, saying that the court had defended the Polish constitutional order against the illegal interference, usurpation and legal aggression of the European Union. I welcome the verdict of the Polish Constitutional Tribunal with great satisfaction. It has defended the Polish constitutional order against illegal interference, usurpation and legal aggression of the European Union organs which attempted to suspend the constitutional organs of the Polish state without any legal basis. Poland's ruling Law and Justice Party says the European Union is interfering in its right to make its own laws by challenging its judicial reforms, which it says are necessary to make courts function more effectively and to remove a residue of communist influence. Spain has presented new restrictions aimed at controlling the rapid spread of COVID-19 cases. Cases began to surge again in the country in the middle of June after a long decline, propelled by the Delta variant and more socialising among younger age groups. A day after the country surpassed 4 million coronavirus cases since the pandemic began, Health Minister Carolina Darias said the nationwide 14-day infection rate reached nearly 470 cases per 100,000 people on Wednesday, up from 437 cases a day earlier. Although infection numbers have been rising steadily, daily deaths remain low, with the new cases primarily reported among younger, unvaccinated people who are less likely to fall seriously ill. The Spanish northeastern region of Catalonia, which has the highest coronavirus incidence rate in the country, said on Wednesday it would impose a night curfew in 158 cities and towns, as infections have soared, especially among young people. After having talked with the municipalities, the Catalan government has taken the decision to impose a night curfew from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. for those municipalities over 5,000 inhabitants with the most COVID-19 impact. The curfew, which needs to be authorised by a court, would take place between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. for a 7-day period in areas with over 5,000 inhabitants with a high incidence rate, including tourism hotspots Barcelona, Sitges, Salou and Lloret de Mar.
La situació és molt delicada.
The situation is very fragile. We are enforcing a completely extraordinary measure that restricts the right to freely move for citizens in 158 municipalities that include most of Catalonia's citizens. We are focusing on the goal of preventing the social activities that we know have the biggest chances to spread the pandemic.
L'objectiu d'evitar les activitats socials
In an effort to counter the spiralling cases, the Valencia region reimposed a night curfew on more than 30 towns on Monday, and the northern region of Cantabria said it would seek court approval to introduce a curfew to 53 towns. Spain's tourism continues to be in a tight spot, with many businesses struggling to make ends meet. The UK announced on Wednesday that travellers returning to England from the Balearic Islands from next week will have to quarantine at home unless they have had both COVID-19 vaccines following a change in government policy. The head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, has stated that investigations into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic in China were being hampered by the lack of raw data on the first days of the spread there. The World Health Organization also stated that China will have to be more transparent in the future. A WHO-led team spent 4 weeks in and around the central city of Wuhan with Chinese researchers and said in a joint report in March that the virus had probably been transmitted from bats to humans through another animal. It said that introduction through a laboratory incident was considered to be an extremely unlikely pathway. But countries, including the United States and some scientists, were not satisfied.
We are asking, actually, China to be transparent, open, and cooperate, especially on the information raw data that we asked for at the early days of the pandemic. And we will be discussing with member states on the phase 2, and hope member states will help in guiding to address the challenges that I have already underlined, among other things.
China has called the theory that the virus may have escaped from a Wuhan laboratory absurd and said repeatedly that politicizing the issue will hamper investigations.
There was a premature push to, especially reduce one of the options, like the lab theory. As you know, I was a lab technician myself. I'm an immunologist, and I have worked in the lab. And lab accidents happen. It's common. I have seen it happening, and I myself had errors. So it can happen.
German Health Minister Jens Spahn, who held talks with Tedros on Thursday, urged China to enable investigations into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic to continue, saying more information was needed. Taliban fighters in Afghanistan have taken control of one of the main border crossings with Pakistan. The border crossing is the most strategically important objective they have captured so far in a rapid advance across the country as United States forces pull out. A Pakistani official said fighters had taken down the Afghan government flag from atop the French gate at the border crossing between the Pakistani town of Shaman and the Afghan town of Vesh. People are very happy and are crying with joy. People came to us and said that they are as happy as the days of Eid, and after 20 years they will have a happy day. We have been ordered not to kill the soldiers and to surrender them. Our request to the soldiers is to have mercy on themselves and surrender. The Taliban leader has ordered a general amnesty, and the soldiers of the government will be forgiven and will not face any problems. They have seen what we have done to them. Sometimes we have even given them money and hung flowers around their necks, which has been done in the past too. The crossing, south of Afghan's main southern city of Kandahar, is the landlocked country's second busiest entry point and the main link between its vast southwest and Pakistani ports. Afghan government data show that it is used by 900 trucks a day. My message to the traders is that their security is guaranteed and they can continue their activities. We have appointed people to ensure their security. We ask businessmen to continue their work and to continue their activities on a regular basis. The Mujahideen are each assigned to do something. Here is an economic area, and the Islamic Emirate wants to have a good relationship with the neighbouring countries and to work with confidence. Taliban, fighting to expel foreign forces and defeat the United States-backed government in Kabul since they were ousted in 2001, have in recent days seized other major border crossings in Herat, Farah and Kunduz provinces in the north and the west. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.